40 years of developing hockey players from youth to the pros, Minnesota Hockey Camps has a player development program for you. Located in Breezy Point, Minnesota, our professionally coached on-ice development sessions, off-ice speed training, weight room sessions, stick handling sessions, shooting skill sessions are the right program for you. MHC takes great pride in its tradition with developing NHL players like Chris Stewart, Ryan Bugsy Malone, Scotty Hartnell, and TJ Oshie. Our dedicated staff is ready for you. Come check us out at MinnesotaHockeyCamps.com. Sign up for your chance to become the player you've always wanted to be. Hashtag who will be next.
Cold showers, leaking pipes, furnace giving you the chills? Look no further. At Iron Range Plumbing and Heating, we've got you covered. From expert plumbing solutions to HVAC magic and all sheet metal work, we are your one-stop shop for comfort and reliability. Professional service from a team that cares. Say goodbye to household woes and hello to peace of mind. Call Iron Range Plumbing and Heating today and feel the difference.
At Grand Rapids Chevrolet GMC in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, we have the trucks. Over 47 new Silverados and Sierras sitting currently on the lot with more to come. We have all the options: LT, RST, LTZ, High Countries, ZR2s. We have heavy duties. We have Sierra, SLT, Elevations, Denali's. We are equipped for the truck you are looking for. With great rebates currently, with up to $12,500 off on select models, now would be a great time to take advantage of savings and get yourself into a new truck today. Grand Rapids GM in Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Welcome everybody to the Tea with Miss McGill Show, brought to you by Reed's Friends, brought to you by my friends up at Fortune Bay Resort and Casino. Make plans today to visit northern Minnesota's #1 casino, Fortune Bay Resort and Casino. They're located on beautiful Lake Vermilion. They offer 170 rooms and a smoke-free resort, pool, full-service marina, RV park, world-class golf, coming up sooner than later. Several dining options, a bar, and of course, all the gaming you can handle. Visit FortuneBay.com for more details and plan your trip up to the bay right now. I don't think you'd be snowmobiling, but you can still do a little ice fishing. But snows get a little spotty up here.
Be careful on the ice, too. Who knows, man? There's probably a little slushy out there. Might be getting a little thin.
Yeah,
50 degrees yesterday. I had my motorcycle out yesterday.
Did you really?
I had the Harley out on the
Really?
highway yesterday. Put on about 25 miles.
Oh, you would have been the first. No, actually, I think I saw one I saw one in Virginia. Coming out of the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, as a matter of fact. Right on the highway, came out there. He was bundled. That was Sunday.
Yeah, that was cold.
Sunday, yeah.
It was 49, 50 degrees when I was ripping yesterday, and buddy just went about 25 miles and called her. Yeah, that was good enough. We said we got it out.
100% March.
Yeah.
Before the state high school hockey tournament. That's pretty dang good. I had my annual Shamrock Shake. I needed to have one. That's my first sign of spring. 50 degrees, Shamrock Shake. Spring is sprung. I'm ready. Yeah.
Love it.
All right, so we are into week 16 of the boys high school hockey season. It is Puka speaking. Is the star of the show, Coach Reed Larson, sitting here for episode 107. 107. And like I said, last year I think we went 16 weeks. We'll go 17. This is just the way the calendar lays this year for the season. A few new subscribers: Kate Bray, Tougher21, Van Pavlik, and Casey Scholler. So be just like these fine folks and subscribe to America's fastest growing hockey show. Great way to support the show at no cost to you. So like I said, I played a little men's over at the Hip this weekend. We had a good time, and like I said, spent a couple Saturday night and breakfast at the Ring Sports Bar on Sunday. So saw a lot of the boys. Pretty good time. So, and then we talk about this one coming up. Gonna lace them up, dust them off.
No chance.
You have a stick? Well, of course you have a stick. Got your coaching stick.
I got a stick. I got skates and gloves, but there's no way that I'm going to play the game again because this guy knows that he will hurt himself or somebody else if he tries to be a competitor again as a player. I have exchanged my shin pads for a whistle.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I did it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I tried skating around a little bit in a couple of just, like church hockey,
Yeah.
or skating on the weekend with old guys and realize this is not for me.
Not for you.
No.
You've said that many times on here. So
I'm going to keep that.
Yeah, a reminder now, Coach Larson begins, well actually, people don't know this, I know he runs a bunch of summer stuff, but officially he starts coaching about August 15th not fall, that'd still be considered summer for football, so you finally, I know you didn't want the week off, but it was pretty nice having the week off last week. You go from August 15th to, whatever that was, February 20.
Yeah, it's bittersweet, you go from mid-August, where you're starting, 2.5, 3 weeks before school actually starts, and you go 2-a-day football practices, and that goes where you literally get about 3, 4, or 5 days to just gather yourself, and then bang, you're ready to start a hockey season. And last year it went directly into it, and then went into the state tournament. This year there was a little tiny 4 or 5 day break, and then no state tournament. Right. So bittersweet because I'm ready for my spring. Like, I need my break. It's nice to go home at 3:30 every day from the school and not have to be leaving the rink at 6 o'clock at night. That's okay. But I wasn't expecting it this early. I was expecting that this was going to be the final show before tomorrow, taking off and heading down to the X. And actually, we would have, if we would have made it, we would have had to do the show last night. So we probably would have done it, because last year we did our practice on Tuesday after school. Took off, parents sent us off Tuesday night. We got down to the hotel there, slept on Wednesday, had a practice Wednesday, had the banquet Wednesday, went and watched the single A games Wednesday. We would have done the same thing this year. Right. So we're doing it a day later than we did last year because we didn't make it.
Well, hey, it's always next year, right?
There is, and I said that to everybody. How you doing with this and that? It's like, once you go to the state tournament, you want to go every freaking year.
Right?
You want to go every year. The experience last year was unbelievable. I don't care if you're a player or you're a coach or you're a parent. It doesn't matter which one. Obviously, I'd love to be the player. But the next best thing is being on that bench and being a coach and part of that. And that was such an awesome experience that as long as I'm coaching hockey, I want to go every year.
Yeah. 100%.
I'll always want to go, but since I'm not, it's nice to have a break.
Yeah, you got a little break. Yep, good for you. All right, smash the like button. Let's giddy up into our games of the week, presented by the Ring Sports Bar and Grill. Like I said, I was there this weekend. Had a little bit of dinner on Saturday night, a few cocktails, breakfast on Sunday. Everything was good. Just on from the Hockey Hall of Fame. 248-8582. You give Michelle a call, 248-8582, or go to the Ring Sports Bar and Grill.com. You can order right there. Burger night Monday, Taco Tuesday, Wing Wednesday, the Big Fish Fry on Friday. For those of you Catholics, of course, Ash Wednesday is tomorrow, so you're going to want to be doing fish fries on Friday, and then Saturday is prime rib. Once again, 248-8582, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill. All right, we're going to put it in reverse to last Wednesday. Chisholm Hibbing versus CEC in front of just about, I saw a couple numbers, the one number, but just about 5,000 fans, 48-98. Of course, your hockey fans, 99.9% of you already know, 4-3 OT win for the Blue Jackets. Of course, I was standing with some guys that said it's going a minute 30 or it's going 13 minutes. I don't know exactly when it ended, but it was on the shorter side, not the 13 minutes. Shots 24-25 in favor of CEC. Is that low for a playoff game, or is that, as a coach, where you kind of want to be?
You kind of expect
defense?
that.
Okay.
Just into the semifinal game that we played in the week before, the shots were similar to that.
Okay.
Those numbers. You hone things in defensively a little bit later in the season. Maybe early in the year there's a lot more offense. Maybe not as much structure on the back end as you'd like early. A lot of teaching has to take place, but you start to hone that in later in the year, and both teams were just a little bit better on the back end, so you're not going to see as many shots.
Yep, okay. CEC 1 for 2 on the power play. Chisholm Hibbing 0 for 2. Big guns showed up. Look at who scored the goals. It's Gentilini, it's Carson Young, it's Swanson. Gabardi got one. So both squad and the big players showed up. It was a coin flip game. Really.
Yeah, it definitely could have went either way. We talked about how important those top players were for Cloquet Carleton, and Thornton and Gentilini and Knudsen. Those guys were all key players in that game. In fact, Gentilini had one. Younger Gentilini,
Yeah,
I
both
think,
of them
had
did, right?
one.
Yep, they did.
Carson Young had one.
Yep.
On the power play, which was an absolute bomb of a shot off the side of the right circle, just one-timer in. And your big guns, on the other side of things, your stars scoring the goals, and a couple freshmen, scoring goals in that game, and it was pretty cool to see that. And we'll have a couple of interesting comments for the young reworks fellow. We're going to have to teach them some. Definitely some interviewing etiquette.
Well, and of course, we've interviewed him. If you go back to when they won the Pee Wee A State 21, I think. Remember being over at the fairground? He's a pretty soft-spoken. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And I'm standing there after the game, and I'm with some of the parents, and their phones are lighting up because, of course, we're at the game, so we don't know was just said down there or on TV. And people had recorded. They're already sending video. I'm like, what did you hear? And I'm like, really him? So, but he's blown up. He's been all over. I see. Channel 9, the city's got him. It's been on Barstool. It's
Spitting Chicklets.
Spitting Chicklets too. Okay, yeah. So it's easy.
Well, he by far became the most popular high school hockey player in the country, and it's you just qualified for the state tournament for your school for the first time since 2011.
Yep.
B, you just threw out just the absolute ballsiest interview of anybody in the history of
live TV.
Live TV throws out a flat F-bomb on there, and it was on accident.
Yeah. Oh,
you could tell it was on accident, but it's just the locker room talk, and sometimes kids, you get used to the locker room talk, and then next thing you know, it's second nature, and bang, it comes out of your mouth when you're live TV. I know this because I've done a lot of live TV. Fortunately, I have not slipped on live TV before. But if you do, in a position like I've been in before, you get fined.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody probably covered that for him, but you got to understand the kid was probably pretty excited. I mean, he just scored the biggest goal of his life.
Yeah.
And he just got done getting a whole bunch of water bottles
poured
all over his head. He's drenched and throws out the F-bomb.
I saw them running to get I thought Coach Jamnik was going to get it. I saw them running to the bench, and then, of course, they went.
Well, that's the etiquette. If you're going to be the one that gets the interview, you're either going to get water dumped in your head or you're going to get a pie in your face. One or the other. So,
and that reminds me, I think it was the Cathedral game I remember reporting on here. I think that was a Rewerts to Swanson goal in that game, but I said, it was two freshmen, and I had said at that point, because we know from their youth hockey days, they've connected a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hundreds of points. And then, of course, when it comes down, like I said, the biggest game of their lives, it's two freshmen that get it done for Chisholm Hibbing. Anything else on that one? Like I said, kind of what we expected, close, tight, and like I said, shots were right there. Two power plays for each team, two power plays for each team, of course. Cloquet capitalizing, so just tight. It was kind of tight all the way around. Each team led at different points, and like I said, everyone there. By the way, missed the whole first period waiting for tickets. So if you're going next year, and the crowd was noticeably different for the single A game than the double A game that we're going to get into in a minute, but I would highly recommend. Because I knew I was going to be a late arrival because my daughter had basketball, so I knew I was going to get there like right on time. Best case scenario, I got there at 7, took an Uber in to beat all the traffic, and then took the elevator up to beat a bunch of people on the stairs. But next year, maybe a media pass. See with Miss McGill Show, media pass, maybe we'll go for one of those. But so I know there were many. I saw some parents, but there were many people that waited the whole first period. Now, thankfully, they have TVs. There's three TVs up above the ticket takers. So they're able to watch the game, but missed the whole first period, standing in line with hundreds of other people at that parking ramp and people coming through. So word of advice for next year, if your team didn't make it, that they do make it next year and you know you're going, I highly recommend getting those tickets in advance because they did shut it off. Standing in line, we're trying to get it. Why don't we just buy it on our phone now? They had shut it off, the high school league. So
of course they did.
Yeah, so just a little something to keep, something to keep right here. If you're going next year.
Yeah, no, I thought that game ended up how we expected it to end up. I mean, I'm not going to break my arm, pat myself on the back just yet, but so far talking about the 2 games of the week, from last week. We're 1 for 1 so far. We'll get into the next one here in a minute. But we guessed it. Literally could have went another direction.
Yeah.
They could have. There are chances for Cloquet to, go up again and win that game, and there were chances for Hibbing, and Hibbing, they capitalized, and good for them. I mean, it would be nice to see Cloquet go again at some point in time. And Cloquet's last trip, I think they said, was 2008.
Okay.
That they went, and that was to the AA state tournament back then.
Okay.
And that was after Grand Rapids had went 2 years in a row, 06 and 07.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then they went in 08, and then I'm sure Duluth East again for a bunch of years.
Sure.
And then they went down into single A. In the last couple of years, they've been single A, and there was their second chance. They didn't make it to the finals last year. Cloquet didn't. They were sitting in Hermantown last year. And I'd like to see them go again. I think they have earned an opportunity here, and we'll see what they got coming next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But good, congratulations to the Hibbing Blue Jackets, Hibbing Chisholm Blue Jackets. You're welcome. It was, in my mind, at the beginning of the year, this was what I hoped for as far as single A is concerned.
Well, you would say somebody different, and I agreed.
Somebody different, but the somebody different I wanted was Hibbing.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was like you said, Thornton with. I think he had he was shooting from everywhere. I think he had a Piper crossbar.
He did
at the end there.
Yep.
So like I said, it was this close. So congrats to Shea and the whole squad, and congrats to Hibbing. I see they took off. They had all their send off stuff today. They were visiting a nursing home. I saw I think Sammy's fed them last night, or Palm or something. I don't know. They've kind of been all over the place. So banquet tonight for them then. Yeah, single A banquet would be tonight because they play tomorrow. So we'll get into that in just a second. But all right, let's move on. So last Thursday, Rock Ridge, Andover, also of course at Amsoil for the AA finals. Again, kind of what we expected. Pretty good game. Now I guess I'm going to start out with. You watched the game on TV. You weren't there, correct? And, Mark Manny's comments after the first period. He said, "This is the worst period we've played in a couple of months."
Month and a half,
or whatever he said. And I thought, I don't know. As a coach, did you notice anything?
Yeah, I did.
In the second, or do you notice anything in the first? Did you notice anything different in the second and third?
100%.
Oh, you did. Okay.
This was the first thought that went through my mind after watching the first period, even before he had gotten interviewed. I'm sitting there texting in our coach's text thread with Coach Clafton and Steve Wagner and Wade Chido, and I'm texting back and forth like, holy crap, they are not playing very good. Okay. And I remember texting in there, boy, I sure wish Andover would have played like this on Saturday. I mean, they played unreal on Saturday, and then they come out and they play a period like that. They come out and play that period the way we started the game on semifinal Saturday.
Yeah, right. 14 seconds.
14 seconds. We probably would have scored 2 more goals if they were playing like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the fact that we scored right away woke them up right away, because you could see that game started to kind of get a little bit lax, and then boom, and finally popped one in, right? But Mark Manny made a comment that was very apparent, because all of us that were texting in that thread and our coaching staff were saying the same thing, that they do not look very good. Andover looks like they could potentially be in trouble right now.
Well, and even the first goal, I mean, let's face it, pretty bad angle. I mean, hey, you shoot the puck, and he fit it right up here, and it was their goal scorer, but the odds of getting that one, where's he? Boy, he was low. He was maybe bottom of the circle-ish.
Well, we're going to have a conversation, Petey. You and I need to talk about this. All you goalie people out here, let's have a talk. And I'm supporting you, Petey, because I love you. But we're going to talk about this. Like, I don't understand how shots make it in that from that angle. I don't get it. And I'm not going to make comments about who taught this or that, but we got to talk about some of the strategies that we use when shots are coming from outside. But he picked that corner short side, short side.
Yes, I mean, he had this much, and he put it where it was this much. So, so that was...
Love you, Petey.
Yeah, so that made it, 1-0 after 1?
Yeah.
Right? 1-0 after 1. Yeah, and then that's when Manny got the interview. Quite frankly, second. Now, I can't remember. I mean, the only other count... do you have anything from the second? Or I can just move into... The thing I liked about Rock Ridge, I liked their power play, playing 5 forwards. I thought and this is one for the Rock Ridge dads. They could have had 15 to 20 shots on the different power plays they had. I mean, they only put 1 in, but even that power play towards the end of the game, I mean, they moved the puck well. They're not taking shots from the perimeter. They're moving the puck inside, getting a lot of quality chances. I don't know when he actually got to the goalie. So, you know, things are bouncing around. You can't always tell on TV. So like I said, when your power play's clicking like that, obviously you have a chance. For those of you that don't know, the score ended up being 3-1 in favor of Andover. But like I said, if Rock Ridge Down wants to put a comment in, I'd love to hear how many shots you think, or if you rewatch the game, that they might have had just on the power play.
They had definitely a lot of shots, and I like their puck movement. I like how they ran that power play with the freshman up top, Bartovich kid up top. You got Kaz Carlson on the right-hand side. You got DeBurio on the left-hand side. Bielke down low, behind and on the side of the net, and of course in front of the net you got Cal Scott. So good power play, good puck movement. The whole purpose of this power play is to get the puck to the flank, either to DeBurio to shoot or to Kaz Carlson to shoot, and they'll move that puck up from Bartovich to one side or the other, and as soon as it goes to one side, if that shot's not there to DeBurio, it's across the seam, right to the other side. Every time. And you catch the goalie moving, and those guys can shoot the puck quick. In this particular instance, it was a nice opportunity where they kind of drug everybody over to one side, dished the puck over to the side with DeBurio. And I've seen him, I've watched maybe 8 different games this year. From start to finish against Rock Ridge, just to make sure I have my ducks in a row watching them and paying attention to their power play. I've seen him score at least 7 or 8 goals from the same spot.
Yeah, the Ovechkin spot. That's where he is.
Yeah, except he's not on a one-timer.
Right,
side.
no, yeah, he's a left. I think he's a lefty.
And boom, and it was right in. I mean, I've seen him score that spot, and you scored that against an unbelievable goalie. That goalie is top-notch. Cash Pruitt was a factor in that game. He was. The goals that we scored on him the previous game, with the exception of maybe one of those goals, I'm going to say all of them. All 3 goals that we scored, there was traffic on top of them. Yeah. That's how it went in, right? The first one, we crammed it in and we went to the net hard the first 14 seconds. Yep. The other one was Luka Roloff with a shot in it. It was a seeing eye puck with a bunch of bodies in front of him. And the last one, it went, I think Luke Palachuk walking off the wall, it went off a couple people and went in. So all of the goals we scored on him had traffic in front, or it either hit people and went in, or he couldn't see it. That goal that DeBurio scored didn't hit anybody. He might have had somebody in front of him, but that was pinned. That was a laser. 100%. So take that and be proud of that. And, that was a heck of a power play goal. Otherwise, the remainder of the night, he was pretty locked into every other shot that he saw. And you didn't see as much of the traffic on top of him and in front of him that, maybe that would have been a point of emphasis, or it probably was, knowing Coach Niskanen. They probably talked about this goal. He's hot. He's 6'5" or 6'4". He stops everything unless you're on top of him. Yeah. That probably something they talked about. So, he's pretty hot.
Yeah, and DeBurio, there were a couple of times you see he's looking, and there was a couple where it rolled off the back. I mean, we've all had it happen, right?
Yeah,
but when your head's up, and that's just bad luck.
Went over your stick, and there was definitely
over
chances.
the stick. There was one that went over his stick
at the end of the game. The goalie pulled 6-on-4. They had a power play at the end. Just couldn't bury those things. And this one I don't want to break my hand. Pat myself on the back, because we did call that. I called that. I knew that Andover was going to have the upper hand, just naturally because of experience. I had talked to people before that game, talked to some of my friends from Rock Ridge, and just had mentioned, hey, here's just a little bit that I have for you. I'd rather see a range team make it down there than a cities team make it, so here's what I got for you. Yeah. And one of the things was to stay out of the penalty box, which they did. They did a really good job of that. I think they were a lot more disciplined.
5-5, I think, is what it was.
Yeah, they were more disciplined on the end of not taking stupid penalties. I would say there might have been a little bit of lack of discipline in some of the structure of the game, which I think, once you get into that and you've been doing the same thing for a few years over and over again, with the same coach that's been there for a while, I think it becomes second nature in the program, which is what Mark Manny's been doing. Yeah. The structure of their game is solidified. It doesn't waver. Yeah. And I think just in 1 year, what Matt Niskanen's been able to do to solidify some structure has been outstanding.
Well, 100%, and that's, we forget how young the Rockridge program really is. So it's, not just a big congratulations to the kids and the coaches, but this, they're still kind of melding. You know what I mean? So it's a huge, it sets a standard, sets an expectation. This is where we can and should be and want to be. And so I think everyone should be, proud of that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's a big feather in your cap. Only 2 years of being a AA program and only 3 years of being a program that's been combined and consolidated together. And the first year of it, were they in a section final against Hermantown?
Yeah.
The second year, they're in a quarterfinal against us, or a semifinal against us. And the third year, they're in a section final against Andover. I think that's some pretty good stepping stones for the future of the program. And it's a huge congratulations for Rockridge. And I'm sure it's upsetting and people are hanging their heads, but don't. There's teams that are wishing they could be in your spot right now.
Well, that brings me to Andover. Speaking of the future, I didn't realize, during Manny's interview, what did he say? Only like 4 players played in this section final game last year. I didn't realize the young talent that's moving,
they
through
got
that
some
program
talent.
too.
Right.
I didn't really look at the roster to look at the ages. I just looked at some of some of the names that have come through there, Sauer and such, but I didn't realize. So obviously, tough road again to get through Andover next year, assuming everyone stays.
No question about it. And so, assuming everybody stays, and there's always the question mark: is Cash Pruitt going to stay?
Right.
I mean, he's got opportunities after this season to end up take off and probably play junior hockey too, as well as a goalie. So that's going to be a big backstop for those guys. The other question is someone like Langfeld, is he going to stay?
Right.
He scored 2 goals in that game. He was only a sophomore.
Right, yeah.
And he's legit. Like, this guy coming back as a junior, he'll be there as a junior, but who knows if he stays as a senior. You know what I mean?
Right.
You live in that world down there in the metro. It's a lot easier to take off and leave places than it is up here. There seems to be more loyalty in towns like Hibbing and Grand Rapids and whatnot, where people stay, or even Rock Ridge now, and different places where you're in outstate northern Minnesota. There's a lot more loyalty to and pride for your community than there is down there in places like that.
Sure.
So it'll be really interesting to see what they got. We know they're going to be good. Sauer was only a junior. He's coming back as a senior, so they're going to be pretty stacked. They did lose Babineau. That was the guy that scored the game winner against us, scored the 4th one, and he'd had 2 in that game. So they lose a couple guys, a couple senior defensemen, and like I said, we'll see what happens with those guys when they go down there. They got their work cut out for them, and we'll talk about that here when we get into our state tournament picks and our what we're predicting.
Yeah, well, a few predictions.
We've been right in our predictions.
Yeah, if you're a sports betting guy, geez, we're kind of hot right now. All right, anything else on that one?
I don't think so.
All right, good time to nail the like button. Let's get into our previews. Aspire Heating and Control, your local Bryant dealer. Like we said, 50 degrees yesterday. Start thinking air conditioning, getting that baby tuned up. Aspire Heating and Control is your local Bryant dealer, and Bryant is the official heating and cooling company of your Minnesota Wild. Aspire specializes in gas, electric, and hydraulic heating and cooling systems for existing and new construction. Residential and commercial installations available. Services include forced air systems, boilers, heat pumps, mini splits. They are, of course, licensed and bonded. Give Justin a call, 218-999-5957. 999-5957, Aspire Heating and Control. All right, so we'll go back to Single A tomorrow night. Getting the number 1 seed, first time all year that Chisholm Hibbing got the number 1 spot. Up against number 8 Laverne. I actually have a buddy over in Laverne, and this is kind of what he told me. Young squad. Their stud is Maddox Damagla. Landon Lays and Blake Bork are a couple other players to keep an eye on. They had 2 come from behind wins versus the Mankato schools, which included 1 double OT win. The program's 4th trip to state, and they're looking for their first quarterfinal win. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, let's get into the pick here. I'm going to say that I think Hibbing is going to win that game. I think Hibbing's going to move on. I think Laverne is going to show a sense of pride like they've been there before as a program. It's been a long time since Hibbing Chisholm has been there. And that's a big stage. It's not the first time for this group of kids.
Right.
When we talk about being on a big stage, they've been in a state Bantam tournament and won it. They've been in a state Pee Wee tournament and won it. But this is a little different story. This is in St. Paul. This is on television nationwide. It's streamed all over the world. You're in front of probably way more people than what you saw in the section final.
Yeah.
Right? At least 5,000 to 6,000, maybe 10, depending on how that lower bowl fills up in a single A game. But I still think Hibbing's going to come out on this. But Laverne has been here.
Yeah.
They've been here before, maybe not in the last few years, but in the last decade they have.
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4 times they've been here. Or 3 times, you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
But they have not won a quarterfinal game before. And that's because of coming out of that particular section. They always seem to never have been seated in the top.
Yeah, right.
The top 5,
Yep.
right? They've always been, and before this year, the seeding has only been seeded 1 through 5 and random draw for 6, 7, and 8. Now they're seeding 1 through 8.
Yeah.
And they've been seeded 8 against 1. I don't think there's an 8-1 flip on this one. I don't think you're going to see a running time score like you normally do. But I think Hibbing's going to win, and they're going to win by a couple.
Okay. Well, yeah, 22-win season for Laverne, so they know how to get it done. But this is the one that's got me the most nervous, is because I've already heard, some of the parents, well, they don't. Laverne doesn't play anybody, or you just, it is for kids. We talked about this. We talked about this for the playoffs. How do you make sure? We talked about in the sections when you got that 1 and 8 game. How do you make sure the kids are prepared? Or they're always prepared per se, but just in the right mental state, And like I said, I think if they get this one, I think they can march through this thing. But I'm actually most nervous for this first game tomorrow night against Laverne.
It does during the season, and it does the first round of sections because of the elimination portion of it. But you get 3 games or 2 games no matter what at the state tournament. So if you blow it in this game, and you still get to play in the consolation bracket for at least 1 more game, maybe 2. If you blow it in the quarterfinals of the sections, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much pressure. So there isn't that much pressure on them. And rarely have I seen a 1-8 seed that'll come in there and be really nervous about the 8. Usually these kids are ready to go because of just the atmosphere. You're playing at the Xcel Energy Center where the school band is pumping in the back of your ear over here. Your parents, the whole world is watching. I can't see how they're not going to be ready to play this game. And I say the same thing for Laverne too. And the other part that you mentioned just about their schedule, you're not wrong. And people are not wrong. I played in that, or coached in that section for a couple of years when I was coaching in Wilmer. We bumped from a couple of different sections in my time in Wilmer, and a couple of the times we ended up in the section with Laverne and some of the teams that are in there. And some of the teams that are in that section, I'll stop right there.
Okay.
Just to be respectful of people, but they had 23 wins. And here's what I'll do and say in defense of the people from Laverne. It's not up to them.
Well, sure. Right.
They don't have any control over where they are logistically. That's where they are. They're not going to make every single trip up north or to the cities or the metro or to St. Cloud. I mean, they have to be realistic financially as to where they can go. So only so many out of conference and out of section games they're going to be able to play. That's just the way it is. So what is their record? 22
something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that being as a for sure. Like, you are likely going to be 20 plus wins coming out of that section, and you're going to play a team that might only have 15 or 18 wins, but they play in an area where they've got a tougher schedule, and you're going to be playing somebody that's better than you.
Yeah. Well,
that's all there is to it.
That's what when they got the number 1 seed, I thought about it. Well, they did beat Cloquet and they did beat Hermantown to get Hibbing, maybe to get there. So I'm like, well, I guess, they probably do deserve the number 1 seed.
Well, for sure. I can't
with
think
Laurel being knocked out.
I can't think of anybody else that is in the tournament that deserved the number 1 seed, except for maybe St. Cloud Cathedral, but they beat St. Cloud Cathedral.
And handily, it wasn't.
And it wasn't
like
close.
It was like
people talked about where people, how things were going for different teams during that time of the season. It doesn't matter when it was; it happened.
Yeah,
and they won.
Sure. Okay.
So,
all right. Anything else on tomorrow night's Chisholm Hibbing.
Not on tomorrow nights, but we definitely have to talk about our picks before we get to that. If you got something else.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. We can move on to the AA here. Just one other thing on single A I just wanted to mention. Of course, Mike Randolph bringing the team your brother used to coach, and the team I know you were down there. What was that, 4 or 5 years ago? Was that COVID year before COVID?
Craig. Yeah, Craig went down there back in 2021.
2021. Okay.
Yeah, that was Northern Lakes' first trip to the state tournament, and that was Craig's second to last year coaching there. He coached one more year and then retired from coaching and now is into scouting. But that was their first trip ever to the state tournament, and that was the year that Gentry Academy won the state tournament.
They steamrolled everyone, didn't they?
Steamrolled everyone, and they were a juggernaut, and then they ended up going AA after that. So.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that was the first trip they ever made. This is the second trip in program history, and as luck would have it, they've got a record-setting coach on the bench for them with, at the time when he broke the record, was 708 wins, I think. Well, of course, that was earlier in the season. He's way past that now and likely going to coach more.
Yeah.
So why not after you just took your team to the state tournament? So there's really only a couple of games that I'm interested in watching at that state tournament. I don't really care to watch St. Cloud Cathedral Matamidi. I already know how that's going to end up. Like I see St. Cloud Cathedral taking down Matamidi. I'm not really all that Matamidi. I'm not all that interested in watching Orno and Northfield. However, I think Northfield's pretty decent.
They have been the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I'm going to make sure that I pull up a nice chair or get the couch nice and warmed up tomorrow night and watch the Hibbing and Laverne game. And I'm definitely interested in watching Northern Lakes and East Grand Forks. I think that is going to be a battle royale with the structure that you get from Mike Randolph and how he coaches teams, and with the type of hockey that Coach Palmo runs with East Side and how physical they are. That is going to be a very interesting hockey game.
Okay. So
the Hibbing game and the Northern Lakes game are the ones that I'm really the most interested in watching.
Yeah, and of course a big upset for those of you who don't know. East Grand taking down number 1 Warroad. They came into the sections here number 1, and that was actually, I think I misquoted. I thought that was in Warroad last week, but that was actually in East Grand. So they must just do home sites. Rotate Warroad Gardens, the little Ralph and Thief, and then over in East Grand there.
Yeah.
So big win, but that was a big surprise. Waking up Friday morning last week and finding out that East Grand had pulled that one off. All right, what are you keeping your eye on?
Picks?
Oh,
Who's
who's my?
pick?
Well, like I said, I got Hibbing going all the way. The Matamidi game. I agree with you.
Matamidi, I'd say Cloud. Who wins?
Yeah, Cloud.
Okay.
I think Cloud.
Orno and Northfield, who wins?
Orno got that lucky win against. I'm gonna go with Northfield just for the heck of it. You said like I said, I saw Orno beat Hibbing. That was that game where like 3 of their goals hit like 2 or 3. Hit a shin pad and they hit a stick and it bounced over here and it went in.
You're going with Northfield.
Going to Northfield.
Obviously, you're picking Hibbing.
Boy, that.
Who are you picking? Northern Lakes or East Grand?
I'm going to pick East Grand just because I think they got some momentum after rolling through.
Okay, we got some differences on this. I'm going to take St. Cloud Cathedral over Matamidi. I'm going to take Northfield over Orno, like you. I like that one. I'm definitely going to pick Hibbing over Laverne, but I'm going to pick Northern Lakes over East Grand Forks.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. I just want that.
Well, and the coach isn't going to be nervous. He's only been there about 15 times, right?
Right, Palmo's been there enough times.
Oh, that's true too.
He
That
has,
is true too.
and he's
That
won
is
2
true
of them
too.
back-to-back
True.
years. But I just think, I don't know, I'm kind of pulling for Northern Lakes.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Well, what's next?
Yeah. Well, who do you think got? Who are you picking to win the whole thing?
Hibbing.
Okay. You got that. And that's what I said.
That's who I want.
I think they can get it done. Like I said, they've been on the big stage many times, and then they're hot right now too. That's the other thing. I mean, they kind of heated up right at the right time. So we'll go with that. And then so AA. What are you watching, or any headlines, or what do you think of that?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's just say this. Let's just say, I don't think Moorhead is going to get touched at all in the whole tournament. I think their best game that they're going to have will be in the second round. If they make it to the championship game, which they will, I don't think that'll be as difficult as the second round game will be.
Okay.
So yeah, I got Moorhead going all the way.
Yeah, I do too.
What games am I interested in? I'm really only interested in watching Moorhead and Lakeville South, and it's funny as it sounds, Andover and Stillwater I kind of want to watch, because that game for me is the battle of the two former Andover goalies. Now, for those of you that don't know, Cal Conway left Andover before the season started and transferred to Stillwater. Played some games, ended up having to sit out for part of the year until they get his eligibility figured out. They ended up having to forfeit a game or two because he did play in a few. And then became eligible at the end of the year again because they got stuff figured out. And boom, ended up getting the starting job and winning it. So now he's their starting goalie going into the state tournament. He was the starting goalie last year, Cal Conway, for Andover, who we played against in the section finals. And Cash Cruitt was his backup last year. Well, now Cash Cruitt is the starting goalie. They're facing off against each other.
Interesting.
Starting goalie from last year, backup goalie from last year, now both starting goalies in their respective teams.
Drama.
This is like made for TV situation. So who do I have? Let's see. So I'm interested in that. And I just like Moorhead the way they play right now. They've got an excellent staff. They've got some of the best players I've seen in a long time.
They're a machine. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
But that Edina Moorhead could be interesting in the semifinals.
Yeah, well, if it gets that way, which I think it will. So let's hear what your thoughts are as far as Andover and Stillwater. Who do you got?
Oh boy, well, I'm gonna have to go with Stillwater because that was an OT or double OT over Hill.
Double, I think.
Double OT, yeah.
Double
So
OT.
they're rolling. As much as I'd like to see Shakopee, first ever trip, correct?
Yeah.
Shakopee, first ever
Program
trip.
straight. And I think they're the Dream State team this year, which is kind of funny. Because most years, if you're Dream State,
Get in?
usually you get the Dream State curse and you don't make it state tournament.
Oh, you don't make it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to go with St. Thomas. Go to our buddy Dozen, his boy. Of course, Moorhead. Rogers Edina, yeah, as great of a season as Rogers' first trip too, right? I believe.
Yeah, that's their first trip program
So,
history too.
but yeah, got to go with Edina. Again, the coach isn't going to be nervous. He's only been there about 50 times.
Or the kids that have been there the last 2 years in a row, right?
And then, but like I said, I like that semifinal match, Moorhead Edina, but I do think Moorhead pulls that one off. Stillwater, St. Thomas, and ooh, boy. They had to have played each other maybe once or twice even during the year, huh? They're right there.
I don't remember if they did or not, and it doesn't matter in my mind because I feel like the state tournament brings a whole different element to it.
Well, it's emotion.
And I just think, yeah. Well, I'll get my picks before we go to the semis. I think Stillwater is going to beat Andover. I think the former starting goalie of Andover has got some, he's trying to pay back all of what happened last year as the starting goalie at Andover. He's going to end up taking it with his boys from Stillwater. It's kind of a storybook year for them. It's been kind of fairy tale-ish. There have been ups and downs, right, with them having to get rid of a couple games because of ineligible players and then coming back and getting everybody eligible again. And then, hey, look where you end up. It's pretty cool that they're there. And do I think Andover can beat them? I do think they can. I just think they're younger. Just like Mark Manny said in his interview, that this is a team where literally there's only 4 or 5 kids on the team that were on it last year that had played in the state tournament 2 years ago. Yeah. So they a lot of them don't really understand it or have the experience. So Stillwater, I haven't been there for a while either. Right. So I think their year has been good. St. Thomas and Shakopee, we didn't get a chance to play Shakopee, but we did play St. Thomas, and that's one of the best teams I've seen all year. They are very skilled. They're very fast. They're very well coached. This is their coach's first year as a high school coach, and here he is, right in the state tournament.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think Still beat. I think we reported that Still beat St. Thomas
They may
earlier
have.
in the year.
Yeah,
I think
they may
earlier
have.
in the year. Someone throw that in the comments. But that was the game I was thinking because I was like, whoa, Stillwater on the map.
Yeah, and I don't think that the Moorhead Lakeville South game is going to be close. I hope it is. I hope for the parity of the sport and the way the game is. But that Section 1, unfortunately, is turned into similar to what you see in some of the single A's where their ability to get to the state tournament isn't as difficult as some of these teams like Edina, what they have to go through to get there, what, teams like St. Thomas have to do to get there, or Stillwater have to do to get there, or even Moorhead for that matter, have to get through Roseau and Bemidji and some of these teams in Elk River. And I just think that that's going to be a shellacking, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but in Edina and Rogers. Rogers is the 4 seed, Edina is the 5 seed, but this isn't Edina's first trip.
Right.
And there it's almost like, no matter what, it's almost like home ice advantage for Edina at the Xcel Energy Center because they've been there so many times. Right. Rogers has never been there. The shiny lights of the Xcel Energy Center are foreign to those kids and the coaching staff that are there.
Sure.
So they do have some pretty darn good players from Rogers, and I would like to say good luck to Rogers. I kind of hope you win because everybody loves to hate you.
Oh, they'll all be cheering for Roger, that's for sure.
Yeah, everybody's going to want you to, and I want you to too. I just, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to win. It's the same thing as last week when people got mad at me because I said I thought Rock Ridge was not going to beat Andover. Was I wrong? No, I wasn't, but at the same token, even though I wanted them to win because they're a northern team. Same thing with Rogers. Even though I want you to win, I don't think you're going to.
Right.
So yeah, then you just start looking at the next round, like Stillwater. Do you think they're going to beat St. Thomas Academy? I think St. Thomas Academy is going to win that game, and they're going to be in the finals. I think Moorhead and Edina is going to be a closer game than the quarterfinal games. That'll be close, but I still think Moorhead's going to find their way into the championship, and then of course it's going to be St. Thomas in that championship game against Moorhead, and I think Moorhead's going to win it, and that will be Moorhead's first state title ever in the history of the school for hockey.
Yeah,
and which is funny because they've been in that state championship game. Somebody that knows this, please put it in the comments. I don't know how many times they've been there, but I do know this. They've always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. They've lost in the state championship every time they've been there. I remember in 1995 because that was, I think, one of the Matt Cullen years. He was on the team, I think, in 95. And Dave Spehar was playing for Duluth East.
Yep.
And this was the year that Duluth East, Dave Spehar scored a hat trick in every single game he was there. He had scored on a penalty shot against Moorhead.
He became the legend.
Yeah.
The weekend.
He beat Moorhead then. I remember Moorhead getting beat in a state championship game against Centennial back in like 2003. It was a 1-0 game.
Oh.
I remember Moorhead getting beat just a few years back by 2017. Moorhead, it's your turn.
Yeah. Oh.
It's your turn. As long as you're not playing Grand Rapids or somebody else that I really love, I want you to win because at least it's the right colors. That was the most, I'll say it again. You probably heard me say this on this podcast enough times. You're going to hear it again. That was the most beautiful sight I've ever seen in high school hockey history when the Xcel Energy Center was all black and orange.
Black and orange.
Everybody was black and orange in there. It was perfect. But that's my prediction, and I think that's the way she's going to work out. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat crow.
Well, so what we're saying is all North champs this year.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
all North Section 7.
That's what happened in
Section
17, just so you know. It was an all-North champ. It was
Hermantown and...
Yep. So, north of the Metro, out-state teams, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that'd be cool to see. All right, so like I said, everything gets rolling tomorrow night. Anything else on that then?
No, I just thought of something else to add before you get into the scores and more or anything else. Or
do you want to do scores and more, or you want me to go now?
I just wanted to talk about this team that's in the background here.
Oh, yeah. Let's start with that. So scores and more, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's get into that. Yep.
Yeah, the team that's in the background here, I got a text message from a really good buddy that just said, hey, just so you know, the team that's practicing on the ice behind you right now is the only team part of the G.O.A.T program. Not G.O.A.T because there's some girls teams, but the boys side of G.O.A.T, Grand Rapids Hockey Association, that had made it to the state hockey tournament. This is the Grand Rapids Pee Wee B team who is practicing. They got the elite practice of the day right after school, which is everybody covets that practice time. They get to go home early and have dinner after this, and that's the perfect thing. That's because that's the only team that's still going right now. They ended up advancing and going to the state Pee Wee B tournament. So congratulations to the Grand Rapids Pee Wee Bs, to Coach Troy Scott and Sammy Johnson. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. And there they are. They're back there.
All
practicing.
right. Yeah, congratulations. And another congratulations to Rock Ridge Banamees going to state, headed down to Marshall. Said they're playing in the new Barons
awesome
rink down there, despite the 2 ninth graders that played for the high school team. So congrats to JT, Coach JT, and all the boys over there in Rock Ridge. One more. I was over in Elmwood. I said Wilderness. I was over there. I did go to watch 2 periods of the game. 4-3 winners overtime win over the Minnesota Moose. So that was pretty fun. But college hockey, we getting into that time of year already. But just a reminder to everybody. So the NCHC Frozen Face-Off will take place down to Excel in a couple weeks. Remember, this is the last year of the Frozen Face-Off. They're moving to home sites next year. So if you want to, one for the record books or one for tradition or one for history, if you want to do the Frozen Face-Off, 21st and 22nd of March, you got to get down there because this will be the last one here in 2025. All right. That it? Anything else to add to episode 107?
I think so. I think we're ready to roll. I think it's just, hey, it's tournament time. There's no better time of year than tournament time. Get your tickets, get set up, get on Ticketmaster, order those tickets for the state hockey tournament, get down there and watch, or tune in on WDIO up north here, or KSP TV down there, or 45 TV.
Yeah, 45, yeah.
You'll be able to pull that up. There will be a live stream that you can pull off of the MSHSL, the State High School League page, where you can click that link to live stream it as well too. So I really like it that the State High School League has done this. They're not trying to make money off of the streaming part of it. They're allowing everybody around the state to watch it for free and around the world, which brings more exposure to Minnesota hockey, which is an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think any employers are expecting their employees to work now in the next few days.
No.
Are they? No.
If you
starting at 11 o'clock?
Well, starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow for the rest of the afternoons of the week, no. No work will be done. People will be watching hockey.
Your production
sorry.
is way down in the state of Minnesota.
Not sorry.
So yeah, sorry, not sorry. All right, find us everywhere. X under T McGill. Find us under T with Miss McGill. Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. On Facebook or YouTube, search Goat Sports Media LLC. Or on Rumble, it's just Goat Sports, one word. Merch, we don't have any with us here, but of course we always got merch. We'll figure it out. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, we can ship to you. If I get down to St. Paul, which I'll have some with me, so we can always hook up there. And of course, a big thank you to the greatest partners on earth: Aspire Heating and Control, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, Iron Range Apparel, Fortune Bay Resort and Casino, Zorbas of Grand Rapids, Iron Range Goalie Academy, Grand Rapids Chevrolet GMC, Minnesota Hockey Camps, and the Jackson Hole Moose Hockey Club, Iron Range Plumbing and Heating, First National Bank Chisholm Cook. We'll be back next week for one more show, and that will be our final weekly broadcast. We'll get into the interview format after that, starting in April. So make sure you tune in next week. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Miss McGill Show.
First National Bank of Chisholm, where tradition meets the future. Locally owned and operated from our historic Lake Street location in the heart of Chisholm since 1905. From savings to your first big purchase, we're your partner every step of the way. First National Bank of Chisholm, the power to do more.
All right, fellas. You just can't get the hockey itch out of yourself. The college route isn't for you. Community college route isn't for you. The junior hockey route isn't for you. Well, there's still hockey that you can play. Why don't you check out the Jackson Hole Moose out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Take a look at these guys. Full crowds, full hockey, packed houses every night. Get a hold of TJ Thomas on Facebook, and he can get you hooked up with what's going on out there in Jackson Hole.
Hear about Zorba's specials? On Mondays, it's Micro Monday. All taps are just $4. Tuesdays, $3 tacos and $4 dos Equis. Wednesdays, personal pizzas, $8 and domestic taps, $4. Thursdays, we have deals on nachos and $5 Surly taps. We offer trivia on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., bingo on Thursday at 6 p.m., and then karaoke Thursdays at 10 p.m.
Did you know that fascia strength training is great if you have a banged up body and you'd like to heal and get stronger at the same time? Unlike muscle-focused exercise that leaves your body stiff and achy, Fascia strength exercise releases muscle tension and fills your body with a spring-loaded power and cat-like agility. Fascia strength is great for athletes and martial artists. If you'd like to pursue this training, take a look at my program, Fascia Strength and Power. I'll leave a link in the description box below.